All right, thank you very much for keeping it here on Joy Sports. And of course, I don't have an option but to bring you 1 hour and 30 minutes of packed sports action all over the world, and all the big headlines, of course, that are making the rounds here in Ghana and all over the world. I'm backed by the Joy Sports team with production, and I'll be telling you about Michael Essien, who has a thigh injury, and Suli Ali Muntari, who has a calf injury. We're not told how tough or how long they are supposed to be out, but it's not supposed to be anything very, very difficult or anything major. I would also tell you about Ifriye Aqua, who plays for Parma and is just hitting top form by the minute. He scored his first Serie A goal for Parma during the week, and we'll be bringing you an update on that as well. An executive committee member of the Ghana Football Association, George Ifriye, says that, look, our officials do not take more than the players at the tournaments in terms of bonuses, and he has been speaking to this issue. We'll be getting to him to see whether he'd specify the figures. We all know that the Black Stars are going to get $15,000 after a game, but how much is it? How much is it, in terms of how less it is, of $15,000? Will he tell us or not? We'll be watching that interview in a bit as well. We'll also be taking you outside of Ghana, where, of course, there are 1 or 2 issues happening in Spain. For instance, Barcelona is still coming to terms with that ban, that hefty ban of not purchasing players for the next 2 seasons. Well, can Barcelona survive this? How much is it going to affect them? You start sending me a message. It's Nathaniel Attoh, Citizen Attoh on Facebook. Let's get talking. Does it really affect Barcelona? Barcelona are surely in form, but does it affect them one way or the other? It's 2 long seasons. And Barcelona are saying that this is unfair. The recent treatment was just unfair. And of course, here in Ghana, in the top flight, in the First Capital Plus Premier League, there's a rather unfortunate development where the Romanian coach of King Faisal has been given a 7-match touchline ban for pouring water on the face of an Accra Hearts of Oak player when the 2 sides met in a game at the Accra Stadium. And this is a very, very unfortunate incident. I very much disagree with the behavior of that coach, and I feel that he should have been given stiffer punishment. So you tell me if you think the Romanian coach of King Faisal should have been given a stiffer punishment for pouring water on the face of an Accra Hearts of Oak player. Messages are welcome on my Facebook wall. Is Nathaniel Attoh, Citizen Attoh. We roll straight into action with all our big stories very soon. The newspapers are also coming up. Let's do some commercials now. All right, so there we are with the graphic sports, and it says Appiah needs no foreign advisor. This is according to Swiss national team coach Ottmar Hitzfeld, and he was in town last week, in fact during the week, for a 3-day visit. And can Hearts tame the Lions? That's a big question, also on the front page of the graphic sports. And the Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid have an advantage going into the second leg ties for the UEFA Champions League quarter-final clashes. Ex-Ghana captain Stephen Appiah also fears a USA revenge at the FIFA World Cup. Remember that Ghana has beaten the USA 3 times running, 2 times running at the World Cup. And Captain Stephen Appiah, ex-captain Stephen Appiah, says that, well, it's a bit of a big risk. Okay, so there we are. Gervinho, the Ivorian international, is featured on the lifestyle page of the Graphic Sports newspaper. So there we are, a product of the ASEC Mimosa Football Academy. Let's also go into the center spread, where we've got some action from Europe there for you. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, the man who unfortunately will not play at the FIFA World Cup. But in big form for Paris Saint-Germain. All right, so there we are. That's the center spread of the Graphic Sports. Let's also take a look at the back page. And former coach of Germany, Betty Vogts, is in the squad. He's part of the technical bench. And this surely is going to be a very, very interesting one. So let's see how all of that turns out. USA playing Ghana a third time at the FIFA World Cup. So crush the Lions, and Philip Bwampong is set to be back. Defender Philip Bwampong of Accra Hearts of Oak is back, and Accra Hearts of Oak are looking forward to crushing Hearts of Lions in this weekend's round of matches. It's match day 24 of the Premier League. This is how it went at training. Various fitness exercises for the players ahead of that game against Heart of Lions. So can the oak tree tame the lions? We'll see about that. Asante Kotoko are still reveling in the good news of landing a big sponsorship deal with Superbet, and Superbet will surely be rolling out a supporters package very soon for Asante Kotoko. And Kotoko won't spare Bichim United. That's according to the Kotoko Express newspaper. Again, let's briefly take a look at the center spread, and these are images of the first defeat, the first league defeat there. And this is a flashback actually of the last season when Kotoko fell for the first time against Bichim United. All right, let's also take a look at the 90 minutes, which has Sule Ali Muntari. It says, is Muntari cursed at AC Milan? Well, players do get injuries, so this is nothing new. All right, so take a look at the 90 minutes newspaper, and of course, let's have a look at some of the stories. Some very interesting stories as well in the center spread of the 90 minutes newspaper. All right, so let me take you back into what happened during the week. And in the UEFA Champions League, it was a lot of action. Of course, Real Madrid getting the advantage, Paris Saint-Germain also getting an advantage after that 3-1 win over Chelsea. Can Chelsea bounce back? Big question indeed. Can Manchester United, just do the big upset of the season? Well, we'll get to know. Let's now go for the highlights of what we missed during the week in the UEFA Champions League. All right, so there we are. You saw all of those goals, and I'll welcome into the studio Jerry Friepaimkam, who is editor of the Kotoko Express newspaper. Jerry, it's been a while.
It's been a while now.
So for you, which game would you say was an interesting one, considering the drama and all of that during the week in the Champions League?
Well, I think all the games were quite interesting, but the pick among them was the PSG Chelsea game. I think that one had it all. It was drama, and it defies all the predictions, all the bookmakers, predicting that the tie was going to go in favor of Chelsea. I think PSG came out and they put Chelsea to the sword. It was a fantastic game, and I think
and Mourinho, as always, would be very livid with his players.
Yeah, I mean, Mourinho's side always plays it compact in defense. They always play strong, and this time it looks like they gave away goals that they never anticipated. It's like they came to pack the princess with gifts in hand. The last goal, for instance, was ridiculous, as Mourinho would say. Beating Czech at the near post was unheard of, and I think that the momentum will now be with PSG to go to the bridge and get a result and make it to the semis.
All right, so we'll be doing some more. Right now, let's take a look at the Europa League highlights. Kwadwo Asamoah's Juventus record another win at this stage of the competition.
To do the same as they faced the Spanish team in the quarterfinals. Both sides didn't take any chances in the opening minutes of the first leg on Thursday, and after 20 minutes of play there was still no shot on target. Ivan Rakitic had one of the best opportunities halfway through the first half to open the scoring for the visitors, but the ball was dealt with by Fabiano. The breakthrough came a few minutes later when the captain gave Porto the lead.
It's Van Gaal who applies the finishing touch. Quick thinking pays off for Porto, who strike first here.
The home side created two opportunities late in the half to score their second, but they weren't able to find the back of the net, and the score remained 1-0 as the sides went into the break. Porto dominated the first few minutes of the second half, and Jackson Martinez came close to doubling their lead. He, however, just couldn't wrap his foot around the ball and missed the target. Sevilla had a couple of rare chances in the 75th minute, but again Fabiano was up to the challenge. The visitors had an ideal opportunity to score the all-important away goal when Fernando was shown 2 yellow cards and given his marching orders, but instead it was Porto who came close to doubling the lead. And that's how the match ended, as Porto kept a clean sheet and will take the momentum into the away leg.
Juventus were looking to continue the loss to Napoli in the Italian Serie A, but started the match well. Carlos Tevez looked to get his side going in the early parts of the game, but his header was just wide. The home side were desperate to get into the game, but Gianluigi Buffon kept them at bay, denying Steve Malbranc. Tevez continued to be a nuisance for the Lyon defence, but he was unable to open the scoring for his team. Substitute Mirko Vucinic had the best chance of the second half, but the big striker skied his effort from close range. But the opening goal would come soon after for the Bianconeri, as Leonardo Bonucci finished superbly. The defender's goal proved to be a difference on the night, as it ended 1-0 in favour of the Old Lady, who take a vital away goal back to the Juventus Stadium.
FC Basel League semi-final in a row. The home side had the first opportunity to open the scoring in the 11th minute of the match, but Matthias Delgado lost his balance as he neared the goal. Although possession was evenly shared in the first half, Basel was the team doing most of the attacking and finally got the breakthrough.
Really well hit from Matthias Delgado.
Delgado didn't waste much time to score his second of the night.
Invitingly placed and 2-0. Remarkable scenes. Delgado had to wait so long for a goal. Gets 2 in 3 minutes.
Valencia didn't have many scoring opportunities in the first half and went into the break trailing 2-0. The visitors looked like a different team in the second half and came close on a couple of occasions in the first 10 minutes, but Jan Sommer kept them goalless. Eduardo Vargas should have pulled a goal back, but his header narrowly missed, and it just didn't seem to be Valencia's night, as a few minutes later they had another chance, but somehow the ball was kept out of the goals. Valentin Stocker rubbed salt in the wounds of the visitors late in the match as he scored Basel's third.
Cuts across the last defender. Valentin Stocker. It's 3 for FC Basel.
Despite the fact that Basel was playing to an empty stadium after the crowd was banned from attending due to their poor behavior when Salzburg visited them in their previous round, they produced a strong performance to keep Valencia goalless and will take the advantage into the second leg.
Alright, so there we are. Let's go into what is happening this weekend in the English Premier League. Alright, so there we are. Manchester City play Southampton, Aston Villa play Fulham, Cardiff City play Crystal Palace, Hull City welcome Swansea City, Manchester United play Newcastle, that's going to be a big game, and Norwich play West Bromwich Albion. Chelsea play Stoke City, and Everton will play Arsenal, and of course Liverpool, they play West Ham United, and Tottenham Hotspur play Sunderland. So of course Newcastle versus Manchester United is live on the Joy Sports channel on Multi TV. Alrighty, so let's focus a bit on the game that Joy Sports will be showing tomorrow in the afternoon. Newcastle, Manchester United. Manchester United obviously have a lot of confidence coming from that 1-1 draw they had with informed Barcelona in the Champions League during the week.
Yeah, with Bayern Munich, champions Bayern Munich. I think United are finishing the league strongly. They are finishing the season strongly. They won comfortably last weekend. But at Newcastle is going to be another test. Newcastle themselves, having been that successful this season, they were expected to push for the Champions League spot. It looks like they're not going to get it, but they will fight till the end. And I think playing at St. James's Park, they'll be looking to add to Man United's woes. But United will also come out strongly and make a statement, you know, for everybody to see that their 1-1 draw with Bayern Munich wasn't a fluke. I will make this one a draw.
All right, so that's what Jerry thinks. What do you out there think? Paste a comment on my Facebook wall, and let's get talking about Manchester United going away to play Newcastle United. Let's now focus on the La Liga, and let's take a look at the fixtures. Play Osasuna, Atletico Madrid play Villarreal, Real Betis play Barcelona, Real Sociedad play Real Madrid, and Rayo Vallecano play Celta Vigo, Malaga play Granada, and Elche play Getafe, while Sevilla play Espanyol, and Real Valladolid play Valencia. Of course, Levante will play Athletic Bilbao. This is in the Spanish La Liga. Let's focus on the Italian Serie A. Chievo Verona play Hellas Verona, Inter Milan play Bologna, Lazio play Sampdoria, Sassuolo play Atalanta, and Cagliari play AS Roma. Torino go away to Catania, and Fiorentina play Emmanuel Ajman-Bedu's Udinese. Afriye Aquas Parma play Napoli, and of course Juventus, which will feature Kwejo Asamoah, will play Livorno. Michael Essien and Sule Ali Muntari are out as AC Milan go to play Genoa. Remember, Michael Essien has a thigh injury, and Sule Ali Muntari has a calf injury. This is what we're expecting. The German Bundesliga, it's Hamburg playing Bayer Leverkusen, Mainz play Eintracht Frankfurt, Augsburg play Bayern Munich, who have already claimed their 24th league title, and Nuremberg play Borussia Mönchengladbach, Freiburg play Stuttgart, Werder Bremen play Schalke 04, Wolfsburg play Borussia Dortmund, and of course Eintracht Braunschweig play Hannover 96. Hertha Berlin will welcome TSG Hoffenheim. All right, French Ligue 1, and of course André Didiaye's André Didiaye's Marseille play Ajaccio. Paris Saint-Germain will play Stade de Reims Sochaux, which is likely to feature Jordan Ayew. Will play Bastia. Bordeaux play Stade Rennes, John Boyce Stade Rennes, and of course Montpellier play Guingamp. Lorient play Evian, while Lille play Toulouse, and Saint-Etienne play Nice, and Lyon will play Valenciennes. AS Monaco will host Nantes. All right, so I mean, if you found yourself in the shoes of Bayern Munich at this time when, you know, the league was over, what would you be doing?
Well, I think, you know, the focus will shift to the Champions League. Obviously, that's the big prize, and that's what they are looking for. They want to be the first club to defend the Champions League, and I think that's what the focus will be. The Bundesliga is already wrapped up, and the Bundesliga games will serve, you know, as a preparation for the big Champions League games, and I think, you know, you will not make too much risk if you are Bayern Munich. I mean, they would like to rest some key players in league matches, or give them 15-30 minutes maximum in preparation for their return leg. So they are in a very good position, a very advantageous position coming to the end of the season.
All right, so there we are. Let's get your messages on my Facebook wall. Injuries to Michael Essien and Sule Ali Muntari. Of course, Barcelona also say that the two-season ban for the purchasing or the dealing in players is unfair. But do you think that is going to affect Barcelona in any way? We'll be discussing that in a bit. But Christian Benteke is also set to miss the World Cup in a Belgium shirt. Well, at least Belgium can rely on Romelu Lukaku, who is also in some very, very good form. Unfortunate news coming in there for Benteke. But like I was mentioning, the Barcelona issue. I mean, they say that it's unfair, but looking at all of these issues of tax evasion, you know, do you think that it's a bit harsh, and does it affect them in any way, considering the quality the Barcelona side have this season, and also considering how many are getting out at the end of the summer?
I think, you know, it's bad news for Barcelona. If you consider the fact that they are looking to refreshing the team. Valdez was on his way out. Puyol also, you know, calling time off his career at Barcelona, and maybe finishing somewhere else. And they need to get in some young players with ambition, you know, to drive the team. They've been criticized this season for not, you know, being being the Barcelona people are used to. They've lost certain games and they are not playing, you know, the beautiful game. The tiki-taka is not catching up with people like it did under Pep Guardiola. And I think, you know, they were looking at, you know, bringing in new players to, you know, beef up the team. And now they are in big trouble. Maybe they will have to look at how they've been doing business in the last few years, the last couple of years, trying to sign teenagers at a very young age into the La Masia Academy, which has been their main nursery for grooming players for the senior team. They will have to look at it. Maybe it infringes on the law. They are claiming they've done nothing wrong, but having been found guilty for tax evasion in the Neymar transfer, and now FIFA imposing this hefty ban for signing minors or you know, underage players in the last couple of years illegally. I think they will have to look at, you know, their system, their model of operating, of acquiring the young talents. I think because FIFA has clear rules on how to engage a player who is not yet 18.
All right, so there we are. All right, so you sending your messages, I'll be glad to share with everyone. And now let's focus on some Ghana issues, and of course the one executive member of the FA, the executive committee's members. He says that, look, the news going around that members of the technical team or the members of the management committee of some of the national teams take more than the players in terms of winning bonuses is untrue. So George Ifree has been speaking to Joy Sports about this you know, news, and he's been reacting to it. He says that those allegations are false.
You see, this planted lie, there's no way, and I'm saying this on authority, and quote me, I'm repeating it, I'm saying it here and quote me. There has never been a time where the FA president, let me even use the FA president, I will not even use a management member, let me use the FA president, has even received equally as what the player has even got. He only gets honorarium. And mind you, sometimes when people talk about management members taking money, you have to ask yourself, is the general secretary a member of the management team of the Black Stars? Is the emergency committee member like me a member of the management, the Black Stars? But remember, if they are honorarium, I enjoyed it. The general secretary will enjoy it. The communication director will enjoy it. So if you go by your calculation of 7 people taking that money, how can one person get that amount? It's not possible. It is not possible.
All right, so each player is expected to get $15,000 per game if the game goes well and Ghana wins at the World Cup. And you know, the story that came out was that each you know, management committee member would receive a little more than $15,000. But George Ifree did not tell us how much or how less it was from $15,000. I was expecting that.
Well, I think that is what the problem is. You know, there's no problem with management members receiving honorarium, you know, for the work they do for the Black Stars. And I can't imagine, you know, any management member or member of the FA earning more than the players do. But where the problem is the lack of information as to what amount constitutes honorarium. You know, I think sometimes we make things unnecessarily confidential. I mean, just put it out there, you know, to clear the air. Other than that, you know, the rumors will keep flying here and there, and that is what is creating the problem. I think they have to make it more, they have to provide more information. Let everybody knows what is happening. I mean, you know, because the rumors are not going to stop, because people have, you know, this perception that, you know, at the FA people are making a lot of money. The Ghana Football Association and the Black Stars have become, you know, a money-making machine, and which is not true. You know, even though the Black Stars do earn a lot of money when they qualify for the World Cup or when they play in the qualifiers, but I think they deserve it for the work they do, because if they eventually qualify for the World Cup, they make a lot more money. I mean, they bring in a lot more money than they take themselves. I understand that aspect very, very clearly, but I think that for us to put to bed some of these rumors, the FA should just make public, you know, what the what constitutes the honorarium, the amount of money that constitutes the honorarium, so that everybody can put that behind us and look forward to the World Cup. I think money issue is becoming a distraction for the Black Stars preparation. The focus has been on how much players are earning, how much of coaches are earning, how much officials are earning. I think it shouldn't be so. We should be looking at our opponents. We should be looking at how we are going to discover probably new players, how we are going to the kind of tactics to employ. We should be talking more about the technical and tactical aspects of the game, analyzing how we are going to beat the USA, how we are going to beat Portugal, which players are going to be dangerous, which players are we going to rely on. I think we should be focusing on that aspect instead of talking about money matters here, money matters there, because people are reading a lot of things, some suggesting corruption here, some I don't think it's the right time for us to do some of these things.
All right, so let's see how all of that goes. Let's do some text messages. Prince Charles says, "Not Chelsea can overturn that score line. We have done it before." Bismarck says, "Not all the haters who think that Chelsea is out of the contest in the Champions League should cast their minds back to 2012 when Chelsea lost by a similar margin to Napoli. Chelsea beat PSG by 2-0 on Tuesday. Chelsea will beat PSG by 2-0 on Tuesday. What do you think?" I honestly don't know. Chelsea will need a 2-0 scoreline to go through, but if that is possible, is another.
I think Chelsea have a problem. They are not scoring goals. If Hazard doesn't work any magic, you need to rely on centre backs like Terry and Cahill, and the defenders Ivanovic coming to nod home from set pieces. You just don't see what
Torres will continue to prove their ability.
Yes, and you have to rely on probably some Attoh return for the second leg, but I just have the feeling they don't have it in them like in 2012, and PSG have so much attacking threats that they will get that crucial away goal in Stamford Bridge too, and they look more likely to qualify than Chelsea.
All right, so there is also a message from Alaji Adamovic. He says, "Hello to you and your panelists, Nat. How serious are the injuries to Sule Muntari and Michael Essien?" Well, Sule Muntari has a calf injury, and that was announced earlier. He's supposed to be out for the next 14 days. And also Michael Essien has a thigh injury. He is yet to be assessed to know the extent of the damage and how long he will be out of action. Let's also take a look at the message from Damsudon. It says, "It's good that FIFA banned Barcelona for not buying players for 2 seasons. They will only use their fake players. Well done, FIFA. Chelsea for life." Okay. What do you mean by fake players? I don't understand you. You have to be clear on that. So send a message to my Facebook wall and let's discuss the stories here today. Let me just talk about a player who has been one of Ghana's most consistent, or in fact Ghana's most consistent player on the CAF Champions League platform. I'm talking about Harrison Attoh, who has played in the CAF Champions League group stage for the last 5 seasons. Amazing stuff, and of course he seems to be making this achievement on the quiet. We would want to talk about it and how he also looks forward to making it to Brazil 2014. He's been talking about his form and how he looks forward to maintaining it. He actually scored back-to-back in the CAF Champions League and in the Tunisian top flight as well last week, and we've been talking to him. Let's take a listen to Harrison Attoh.
I'm always happy because this like a dream come true. I've waited for this. For this thing for a long time, and God being so good, I think I'm in the good shape, and I hope I'll go to the World Cup and make a good match day. I'm just praying to God that He'll give me the strength, the courage, give me long life, keep a good shape. As I'm in now, so that I hope I'll still maintain my performance or add more, because people will be expecting more from me, and I'm ready to deliver for the national team anytime I'm being invited. So I just pray to God that I'll have a great game in the World Cup.
Harrison, are you the man to keep out players like Cristiano Ronaldo, the likes of Sean Steiger? We talk about the Germans and the that player that Ghanaians should rely on when it comes to dealing with these players?
I think we are a team, and we're going there to play as a team, not individual. So for me, stopping Cristiano Ronaldo or the big names you've mentioned, if I stop him, it will be like it will be a great news for me. It will be a good achievement for me, because I used to watch them on TV, and I say to myself, I wish I want to play against them. Because if a dream comes true, and I'm really working hard to face them. So let's wait and see in the World Cup. We wait and see what happens in the World Cup.
So, another message comes in from Franco de Zola. Says Jose Mourinho's mind game sometimes fail him, but I'm thinking playing at home to Paris Saint-Germain in the second league can put Chelsea through. In the second game can put Chelsea through. Blues forever. Okay, keep the messages coming in, and let's also focus on Efri Aqua, who scored his first Serie A goal, and of course he's been displaying some great form for Parma now. Efri Aqua scored his first Serie A goal against AS Roma in a midweek clash, and of course he is also looking forward to making it into Coach Kwesi Appiah's team for the Black Stars. Now, Andre Didiayew is denying yet another exit rumor, an exit from Marseille. And Andre Didiayew has been very, very consistent for Marseille after getting himself into the first team, played in the Champions League and all of that. But a lot of the time, he's beckoned by interest from especially the English Premier League.
Liverpool, leading, Arsenal also expressing interest in him. I think he has come of age. He is now matured, and if he excels at the World Cup, I doubt very much if he will still be playing the French League next season. I think he has to make a move to the big boys and in Europe, and the Premiership will suit him most. Marseille themselves have been, they have been overpowered by PSG, the big money spenders in the French League 1, and I think that if he moves abroad, he will get the opportunity to play in a club that will progress, to the quarterfinals, semi-finals in the Champions League, and I think it will bring out the best in him. He's a bunch of talent, and he deserves to be playing in a much more bigger club than Marseille. I think he has overgrown Marseille now.
All right, so Andre, do you think that he has overgrown Marseille? Send me a message on Nathaniel Attoh, Citizen Attoh on Facebook. Let's also talk about the two players who are injured at AC Milan, and of course the injuries have been confirmed. Player Sule Ali Montari, and he, together with Michael Essien, have received various injuries and are having to nurse various injuries, while Sule Ali Montari is nursing a calf injury. Michael Essien is dealing with a thigh injury, and they are not expected to be away for too long. Let's also talk about a potential move for Ghana captain Asamoah Gyan, and he is expected to sign for West Ham United. And do you ever see West Ham? Do you ever see Asamoah Gyan move away from the UAE league, because he looks very comfortable? He seems to be comfortable there.
Yeah, now he looks very, very much at home in the UAE. It will take something, something very, very, very extraordinary to pull him out of UAE back to the Premiership. He's played in the Premiership before. Many people disagreed at the time he left the Premiership, and I think that if West Ham really want to get Asamoah Gyan back, they will really need to work hard, because if Asamoah plays at the World Cup and he does well, maybe he will even be looking beyond West Ham if he wants to leave UAE, and I don't see him coming to West Ham.
All right, so remember Anthony Obudai, ex-Ghana international Anthony Obudai, he was named the Player of the Week. He was put in the Player of the Week list in the US. And of course, the Ghana midfielder, he's been named by the USL Pro Team of the Week after his impressive performance for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. And Obudai joined the side at the start of the season from Phoenix FC and was the thick of affairs for his side against Orlando City. Now, the 31-year-old had a strong game as he helped the breakup of numerous Orlando attacks and distributed well from the center of the midfield as the game ended 1-1. All right, so let's also focus on an ex-Ghana FA chairman, Ben Kofi, who says that the recent negative discussions in the Ghanaian media on the Black Stars could destroy the national team's focus ahead of the World Cup. And of course, just like Jerry mentioned a few minutes ago, there's been a lot of talk about money issues, and this is not helping everybody to focus on the game itself and the matches that will be played, especially from the group stage where the Black Stars are expected to qualify. Of course, big names, Portugal, Germany and the USA to deal with, and Ben Kofi thinks that the attention should be shifted into its proper place. And we talk about Jürgen Klinsmann, who is in charge of the U.S. national team, who will be playing the Black Stars at the FIFA World Cup, and he has strongly defended his decision to reconfigure his coaching staff just 3 months before the tournament's kickoff in Brazil. With less than 3 months, the U.S. Soccer announced last Sunday that assistant coach Martin Vasquez will be transitioned to other duties, with under-20 team coach Tab Ramos taking his place. And the former German national team manager Betty Vogts has been hired as a special assistant. So Betty Vogts and Martin Vasquez, they have joined the backroom staff. Well, a lot of work is going on in the background, as we can see.
Yeah, I mean the US is a team that have been preparing very well for this World Cup. I don't know any team that has started its preparation well ahead of time. You know, they went to Brazil to camp, they came back to the US, and they seem to be preparing very well. They have a very good coach, Klinsmann. Klinsmann has imposed his philosophy on the team. Now he is reinforcing his backroom staff. That is what I was talking about, that we should be doing here. You know, I know the FA are also working hard. Kwesi Appiah and his technical team have been to Europe, to England, and trying to build their capacities and other things. And I think that we should, in the media should also focus on that aspect of the team, instead of some of the things that I think are a distraction. You could see the US, they are preparing very well. They really want to make an impact in this World Cup, and they really want to do that at the expense of Ghana. So we cannot take things low lying at all. We also need to be ready for the World Cup, and we need to prepare very well, leave no stone unturned. And I hope that these issues in the media concerning money and other things, wives being allowed to camp, and I hope that it doesn't shift the focus. Kwesi Appiah should keep his focus on preparing the team for the World Cup, and the players also should concentrate on their football, make sure that they stay in shape. I mean, we are having reports of injuries, unfortunately, but at least our situation is better than the likes of Belgium, who have had to suffer Benteke loss, and Valdez, who's also set to miss the World Cup for Spain. So I think we should not allow ourselves to be distracted. Those who are the people who really matter, being the technical team the management team and the playing body should keep their focus. They should work according to plan and make sure that the team is ready, you know, when they step up to play the USA in Natal in June.
All right, so let's do a round of commercials, and after that we do some more stories, including the build-up to the Bahrain Formula 1 Grand Prix. And of course, we'll be talking about the African Warriors, African Golden Gloves Warriors, sanctioning body that Ghana has introduced. So there's a new sanctioning body here in Ghana where you know, fights can be sanctioned, and you know, belts can be won. And we'll be bringing you a sneak peek of the interview that was held last night here on this channel on Sports Night with Kwame Jumajuman. Also, we'll look at the fixtures of the First Capital Plus Premier League. And remember, the First Capital Plus Premier League is live here on the Joy Sports channel on Multi-TV every Sunday afternoon in partnership with Super Sport. So let's do a round of commercials, and we continue with some more stories here on Sports Today with my guest, Jerry Efriye Paimka. So there we are. Let's talk about the First Capital Plus Premier League. Remember, live matches are here on this channel every Sunday afternoon. Join Joseph Hansen on Sunday afternoon, and you'd have the best of updates from the First Capital Plus Premier League. And of course, the English Premier League is on tomorrow. It's Manchester United going away to Newcastle. Let's focus on the local scene. Inter Allies will be hosting Hazakers. Hazakers are in form. We'll be talking about them in a bit. Amidas professionals go away to Wa Stars at the Wa Park, and Midyama SC will play King Faisal, who will be without their Romanian coach, who's been banned for 7 matches. 7 matches off the touchline. Dwarfs will welcome Ashanti Gold FC. Diana Stars will play Liberty Professionals. Heart of Lions will play Accra Hearts of Oak. Dubiasi play Brekum Chelsea, and Asante Kotoko will play Bichim United. And of course, talk about Bichim United and Asante Kotoko. Last season, Kotoko was enjoying an unbeaten run until Bichim United came along the way.
Yeah, Bichim United were actually the first team to stop Kotoko this season in the first round. They have such a good side, and you know, interestingly, they have a player on loan from Kotoko, Augustine Okra, who happens to be their playmaker and the real engine of the team, coming against his colleagues in Kotoko. It promises to be an interesting game. Bichim play some wonderful football, and coming against the champions and the runaway league leaders, it promises to be an exciting game at the Babayara Stadium. Now, the other bit is the Hearts of Oak, Heart of Lions twist. Big rivalry, and that game is expected to be a cracker as well. Yeah, that game also promises to be very, very interesting. Heart of Lions are a different side this season from the Heart of Lions that struggled to avoid relegation last season. They seem to be doing a lot of things right. Of course, the management and ownership has changed a little bit, and they seem to have reignited their fighting spirit. Coming up against Accra Hearts of Oak side, who haven't been consistent in the season, it looks a very dicey game, and it could be anybody's game. All right, so it could be anybody's game. Let's see how all of that goes. And of course, Hazakers are playing away. Hazakers also are targeting a top 4 finish this season. Yeah, I mean, they've been climbing, on the league log on the blind side of everybody, and they seem to have found the position themselves, at an advantageous position. And they're doing the do. Yes, to push for a top 4 finish. Is really going to be a fight for that top 4 finish with Midyama coming in, Ash Gold, Hazakers, Heart of Lions. It's really going to be a thrilling finish. And this one against Inter Allies, who themselves have also, sworn brimstone and fire to avoid relegation. It is going to be interesting at the Tema Park this weekend.
All right, so those are the matches of the First Capital Plus Premier League. Remember to follow the live action here on this channel on Sunday afternoon, and let's also let's also do a few stories away from Ghana. So Benoit Attoh is expected to be queried by the English FA, and this is because he's said to have made a comment that he was disappointed to have been charged by the FA for commenting on Nicolas Anelka's Kinnell gesture. And remember that that Kinnell gesture is anti-Semitic, and it is a banned gesture. And of course the Queen's Park Rangers player commented on it some time ago, and they were charged with misconduct himself, together with Yannick Sagbo, were charged with misconduct for some comments they made on social media sites. Anelka made the Kinnell gesture after scoring for West Brom against West Ham in December. Now he was banned for 5 games after an independent commission ruled that the sign contained an anti-Semitic reference. Okay, so Attoh, on loan from QPR to Tottenham, told the press, "I am disappointed to have been charged by the FA with misconduct in respect of my use of Twitter, but I'm grateful that as part of this process I will be able to present my case to them." All right, so let's talk about Stephen Keshi, and he is his drama with the FA of Nigeria is ongoing, because there are strong indications that the Nigerian FA and Stephen Keshi are headed for a collision course after over the release of a provisional list for the pre-World Cup campaign. Coach Stephen Keshi is yet to release the list, and the Nigerian FA is also demanding it, and they are demanding the immediate release of the 35-man list. Let's go to Morocco. Winger Usama Asaidi, who believes that the national team needs a foreign coach and a new attitude. Okay, so Asaidi is saying that the national team of Morocco needs a foreign coach. Now the Atlas Lions failed to qualify for the World Cup and without a permanent coach, and the former under-20 manager Hassan Benabicha, who was replaced in charge after Rashid Tausi was sacked last year, remains the interim solution. Let's talk about the Zimbabwean FA chairman Cuthbert Dube, who intends to push ahead with plans for the association to turn to farming to help fund operations. Now farming is a main source of livelihood in Zimbabwe, and the president of the Zambian FA says that one sure bet of bringing in funds is through farming. And the boss of CAF, Issa Hayatou, has expressed shock at the death of former Egypt midfielder Taha Basri. So a sad loss to football in Egypt indeed, and football on the continent. And FIFA General Secretary Jerome Valcke says that the governing body is fully committed to supporting CAF's member associates in a bid to grow the game of football on the African continent. So Jerome Valcke is pledging bigger support from FIFA for CAF in growing, various concepts that would help football here on the continent. So keep your messages coming in, and I'm expecting a few more on my page on Facebook, so we can share with everyone else. Well, before we do that build up to the Formula 1 season, there's more messages coming in. Now, there's one from Judgment Adam Magdalene. He says, Barcelona, no size. Samuel Bedro says, Chelsea cannot win against PSG because of Mourinho. The mind's game. the mind games that he sometimes plays. Osam bin Sada says it's a lesson to other clubs. What is a lesson to other clubs? Is it Barcelona's issue? Well, Frimpong Holy John OC says fabulous. Kotoko will beat Bichim United whether rain or shine. Okay, thank you very much for all of those messages. Abdul Maxwell says, I think we should be eyeing a young lad like Efri Aqua and of course people like Waris than the scrappy SEN and KP Boateng if we really want to make it in Brazil. Okay, thank you very much for those messages. Another one from Password says, hello Nat, I'm so proud of United. Once again, United proved that the English League is the best in the world. Chelsea was on the 6th position but won the Champions League, and United also will do the same. Okay, a lot of confidence in the teams. Okay, let's build up to the Formula 1 event in Bahrain. It's the Formula 1, the Grand Prix in Bahrain.
Season, and the next destination in the calendar is the Asian country of Bahrain. Mercedes has been the standout team, with Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton taking the honours in the first two races. Nico Hülkenberg finished in 5th place in Malaysia, and despite all the drivers having done testing in Bahrain, he maintains that it will be a difficult challenge.
I think here this weekend is a bit trickier. In Malaysia we had surprisingly good performance on Sunday, maybe stronger than we expected. We're quite clear on McLaren and on Williams, which was a little bit of a surprise, but I think here things might be a bit more tricky and more tight.
The sport of Formula 1 has undergone a few changes coming into the new season, something that excites Jensen Button.
Being 14 years in the sport, I still feel like I have more to learn. You know, I'm definitely not the perfect driver yet, I never will be, but you know, there's always still more to learn, and that's something for me that's exciting about the sport. New regulations obviously changing the sport quite a lot, especially with the new regulation change. And again, you know, you always have more to learn, and for me that's what keeps the sport exciting, and that's what's kept me on my toes for the last 14 years, and hopefully for many more.
Alright, so let's also talk a bit of boxing now, and Gideon Quartey, who is the president of the African Warriors Golden Gloves concept. Now African Warriors Golden Gloves is a sanctioning body which will give bouts and belts out to boxers, and he was featured last night on the on last night's edition of Sports Night. Let's take a look at some of the excerpts of the interview.
African Golden Gloves concept is about amateur boxers in various weight categories who vie for the one slot, like the flyweight, light flyweight, all the weight categories. Yes, we will have one big championship once a year, and it's not only for Ghana, it's for the whole of Africa. I've sent some of the members to the West African countries, and we are working around the clock to make sure this comes to reality. Africa, we've had a very big challenge when we go to World Championships and other championships like the Olympic Games and whatever. It seems like we've been doing well in the professional round sometime, but now the sport is going down. So we should have, as a continent, let me say, one big family in the boxing fraternity where various boxers will compete in various weight categories, so that we will have a very clear conscience how many boxers do we have in each weight category and what they can do and what they can also offer. But we are not getting there. It's like one sanction body comes and then it goes off, another comes, it goes off, and even the West Africa that was controlling Ghana some time ago was even off. And Ghana, we don't have any sanction body at all. So we thought twice. When I was out of the amateur boxing by then, as the vice chairman, I thought it's why that, look, why don't we establish this organization and move towards achieving this common goal? Because that has been my vision for all these years, that we should have an amateur, one big program that will bring boxers from all over the place and meet at one particular place to vie for this championship belt that we initiated.
You heard from the man, Gideon Quartey, who is the president of the African Warriors Golden Gloves concert. Let's do a bit of updates on the local scene, and there's still talk about how the Bukom Banku versus Haiti Powers bout is looking likely like the middle of May, but Haiti Powers is still yet to confirm.
Very, very, very unfortunate. I am so disappointed in the turn of events, because I saw this fight as the fight that was going to, you know, rejuvenate Ghana boxing. It was bringing back the interest, you know, and I for one was really looking up to that fight. For once, I mean, people who are not even boxing fans were looking up to the fight because of the vibe and the publicity around the fight. Both boxers have done so well, you know, to hype the fight, only for Haiti Powers to pull out at the last minute. I think should not happen, and the promoters have to work hard to make sure that they bring the boxing. But I don't know how much, you know, damage has been done, you know, to the publicity, but I think they can still get the fight back. For once, we were looking up to, you know, a boxing fight that will see a lot of people from movie stars to musicians, even politicians had interest in the fight. Just the way it is done in the US and anywhere, you know, like the Madison Square Gardens, where you see all, you know, people from all spheres of life coming to watch a boxing bout. And I think this one was the fight that was going to bring back the interest in local boxing. And I think the managers of Haiti Powers have a responsibility to make sure that they get their boxer to change his mind, and because even for their own reputation, you know, for their own reputation, it is important that they do the right thing. Other than that, no one is going to take them serious anymore.
All right, let's see how it goes, and we'll be bringing you updates on what exactly will happen. And also, Joshua Clottey will fight Anthony Mundine on April 9, and this is one that he's really looking forward to winning to set his sights back on a major world title, especially in the light middleweight division, which he entered not too long ago. Joshua, he's currently in Australia. What do you think he should do?
Joshua is in down under preparing for the fight. I think that is one you know, big opportunity for him to you know, rise up again in the rankings. Anthony Mundine is looking forward to retiring Joshua. That's why Joshua is also looking forward to retiring Anthony Mundine. Mundine, who is also eyeing a fight with Jimmy Floyd Mayweather. He thinks that this fight will, you know, if he's able to defeat Quartey, it will put him in a good stead to have a bite at the cherry. But I think Quartey wants it more, and he should prepare very well for that fight.
Joshua Clottey will be in action on April 9 against Anthony Mundine. We'll be doing some more on Monday's edition of the show. Patrick Kwabna Thompson says Liverpool will lift the trophy come May. And Pamphlet Sam says Joy Sports is not showing the UEFA Champions League. Well, we did not have rights for this season, so next season we'll do our best to see if we can capture some rights so that we can show you some of the live matches. We do have highlights for you, however, you know, we say credit to SuperSport for that. Okay, so thanks for staying with us here on the show. A big weekend coming up. Remember, Newcastle will have to host Manchester United tomorrow. That surely is going to be a big game, and it will be here live on Joy Sports. And also there is Ghana Premier League action. It's the first Capital Plus Premier League live on Joy Sports from 2:30 p.m. on Sunday afternoon right here with Joseph Hansen. And of course we will also be bringing you some boxing later tonight. Is the World Series of Boxing later tonight, and of course later on Sunday we'll bring you GFA TV as well. You have to join George Attoh Jr. later tonight, of course, from 7 p.m. as he brings you a football concentrated show. Is a football show right here on this channel as well. There's every reason to stay here on Joy Sports. Thanks to the whole production team. I will leave you with the moment of the day, which is the Javier Pastore goal for Paris Saint-Germain against Chelsea. You have a great weekend. My name is Nathaniel Attoh, and I have love for sport.
Plenty of Javier Pastore with the last kick of the game.